Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today for the mod showcase we will not be going through a creatures mod but more of a utility and equipment mod. So the mod today I'm going to go through is Accessories Plus. It's actually one of my more favorite mods to play around with because it makes life easier but not so easy in the Ark. So it's more balanced, so to speak. Right, so let's get right into it. Alright, first thing would be the decoration pieces, and for Accessories Plus we have two decoration pieces. One is the pathway, is called stone foundation for some odd reason, but when you picked it up it's actually the brick floor. So this can be used for anyone who fancies themselves to like make a pathing, to wherever their village or their base is. Then next up is the medieval flag, which is I'm not too sure if there's a purpose, but from the looks of it, it's just a decoration piece where you just plonk it on the ground and claim your kingdom, I guess. Alright, next up we'll be going through the saddles that the mods adds. So first, the Aquarius saddle, or the Aquarius saddle with a wooden cart. Basically it's just as the name suggests. What this saddle does is once you equip it on the Aquarius, you will see the weight, you'll actually double the weight of the Aquarius. So this can be used for just increasing the weight of the Aquarius and also traveling. So this is good for anyone who wants to move around more and collect more stuff. And if you are scared of the dark or you want to see what's in the dark, there's actually a torch skin for the saddle which will light the area. And for the Megalosaurus, it's also the same thing. Once you equip the saddle on it, it will double the weight, and once you equip the torch on it, it will also light the area. Alright, next up we'll be talking about the armor attachments. There are 13 armor attachments, but some of them are just the same but different tiers. For example, the backpacks, there is the basic backpack, the intermediate backpack, and then the advanced backpack. The advanced backpack comes with two types of skin, which is the modern style or the I would say hiker style. So let's give a short example. Alright, so I reset all my stats so you can see the differences. So currently, I'll be putting on the basic backpack skin to the chest piece. And once I put it on and put on the chest piece, as you can tell, the only stat that changed is the weight stat as I increase in 25 weight. Not much, but good enough for now. Now next would be the intermediate backpack. Once I put this on, I will have an increase in weight by 50, and also my crafting skill is increased by 50 as well. And lastly, for the advanced backpack, once I put on the advanced backpack, either the modern style or the normal style, and I put on, I'll have an increase in melee damage, twice my weight, and also an increase in crafting skill. Now here's the thing about the Accessories Plus backpack utilities, is that these stats are not fixed. It's not a fixed amount of 100 stats or 200 stats or 300 stats. As when I increase my weight, it will increase 2 times. So there is a multiplier to it. Now I have 300 weight, but if I remove my shirt, it's actually 150 weight. So it's actually an increment of multipliers. It's not a fixed multiplier of 25, 50 or whatever. Alright, next up is the basic quiver skins, which will give you the hunter buff. So what does the hunter buff do? Well, it just increases your speed and also your stamina. So for the basic quiver, it will just increase by 1.5 times if I'm not wrong. And for the advanced quiver, it will give you an increment of 2 times for your stamina and a certain amount for your movement speed. I'm not too sure about the stats for the movement speed, so just need to do the math out yourself or something. Alright, the last one will be the chieftain banner skin. So once you put it on, you have the chieftain banner buff. What the chieftain banner buff does is it will actually increase your HP, your damage, and also your movement speed. So it's a more balanced out kind of buff instead of just solely focusing on a specific type of playstyle. For example, the archer will be the runner playstyle, and the backpack will be just carry a lot of items playstyle. Alright, next we'll be talking about the helmet attachment. So first one will be the goggles for night vision. So once you put it on, it will be brighter as you just saw just now, but same as the night vision goggle, if it's too bright, try not to look at anything that reflects. However, this is not as good as the night vision goggle. As you can tell, I wasn't blinded the moment I put it on, but I was just like, slightly brighter than usual. Alright, next is the ocular implant skin, which has a bunch of functions. Like, I'll leave it to you to read for yourself, but all you need to do is just, all you know is just that it's more of it's like something similar of a awesome spyglass sort of audio, where you can, once you look at a certain creature, you can see like how much life they have, how much totality they have, and so on. But it's not as specific as the awesome spyglass, but it does tell you certain stats as to your on the left side of the screen, and also tell you where your latitude and longitude is, along with the durability of your armor. So this is a pretty good and useful UI interface for anyone who wants to know exactly where the hell they are. Alright, next up I'll be going through the more alright, for the armor attachments, will be the glider with backpack skin. So once you put it on and you wear on the torso, you will be equipped with a glider, and once you go up in the air and you press space out again, you will glide through the air, like so. Alright, next I'll be going through the different variants of the jetpack with glider, which is basically just adding the backpack and also the quiver to the jetpack. And once I put on the fuel for this and equip it on myself, I just need to hold spacebar to jetpack up into the sky, and then hold this out again to glide. So this is extremely good for traveling and escaping from anything. And yeah, this is pretty cool and also pretty fun to play with if you know don't really want to die against anything. But just to watch out for fall damage, because that still exists apparently. Alright, next I'll be going through the tools and equipment. So what the tools and equipments of Accessories Plus do is actually they let lower tier tribes be able to use more endgame tribe the functions. For example, the function to use the grinder, since it takes a long time to get the grinder because it costs 3,200 goddamn metal ingots. But I digress. And just lets them use it, and it doesn't really undermine the grinder though, because it's kind of troublesome to use, as I'll show you now. So first things first, we'll be using the A plus hammer. The A plus hammer, as you can tell, is used to salvage items. So once you use it, for example, I'll just use it on this sword, it will break it down into its crafting components, similar to the grinder. But as you can tell, I have to drag and drop onto each item, so it's kind of hard to use if you have a lot of items to break down. So if you have a lot of items to break down, the grinder is naturally more useful, but in early stages, this is definitely useful if you're just collecting from all the different loot drops. Next is the metal chain collar. The metal chain collar is more used on creatures, so once I put this on the creature, it increases the XP gain and also the armor that it has. How much armor and how much XP, I'm not really sure. But I did use it before, and it actually does increase my creature's level by quite a bit by just keeping it on and also killing stuff. So yeah, this is more utility for the creature rather than yourself. Alright, next up is the A plus pliers, but for some reason I can't really use it because I'm unsure on how to properly use the item. I've been trying to use it on half destroyed items, completely broken items, but it doesn't seem to work. But as it just stated there that it's to repair items when you're on the go. So I'm not too sure how to use it, so if you guys can find it out, just put it down in the comments below and just help other people to realize how to actually use this item. And the last equipment would be the reinforced wooden shield, which is a stronger variant of the wooden shield. So yeah, this is it for the tools and equipments. Alright, next up on the Accessories Plus mod will be the more utility structures. First up would be the wooden shelf. The wooden shelf acts similar to a storage box, but it has way lesser storage space. However, to make up for way lesser storage space, it excels in being able to cling on to wall and takes up less physical space. So anyone in your tribe has a problem with having chests everywhere, well, with this you don't really have much of a problem. Just have to see and make sure that you are clicking the correct one in case you picked up the wrong one. So yeah, this is the wooden shelf. And next would be this, the more important and useful item, the first aid cabinet. As shown here, I have half my HP, and once I hold E on the first aid kit, they give me an option to heal. So I will mouse over the heal, and just once the heal reaches full maximum, I'll be able to heal back to my maximum HP as shown here. See, as you can tell, my HP is increasing rapidly, and now I'm at full HP again. The amount of HP you have does not matter, as the first aid cabinet will naturally heal you back to your full HP, whether it can be 100, 500 or 1000. Right, next is the accessories plus preserving box. The A plus preserving box is different from our normal preserving box because it can not only convert meat and prime meat into jerkies, it actually can convert fish meat and also prime fish meat into jerkies as well. It also can convert any of the 4 basic vegetables in the game into jerkies. And last but not least, probably the more useful ones, if you have a source of organic polymer, but you know it will decay naturally and you don't have a fridge to hold it, you can actually convert it to polymer using the preserving A plus preserving box. Right, next up is the vessel. This vessel, it does what, how do I say this? It does the opposite of a fridge, where if you put meat inside, it will actually spoil faster, but it will actually make spoiled meat and preserving salt last longer. So this is good, especially good when you want to quickly get as much spoiled meat as possible just to make those narcotics. Alright, next up is the hand mill and mixer. The hand mill and mixer is just essentially the mortar and pestle, but better, but not as good as the chemistry bench. So this is like the mid tier of this of the grinding resource structures, if that's for lack of better word. So this is extremely useful for mid-tier gameplay when you just want to craft stuff, craft like narcotics, spark powders, gunpowders, more, but don't want to have 1001 mortar and pestles to do so. Right, next we'll be going to the bigger and more useful structures. First up is the oil pump. The oil pump is good as you don't have to power it and it will just naturally extract stone, oil and obsidian over time. These are all extracted from the machine and not placed by me. As you can tell, I can't put it back in, but I can extract it out. Next is the mine. The mine actually does not do what you think it does. It does not just naturally generate resources over time similar to the oil pump. No, what you have to do is you have to use a spark powder to ignite it. Then all of these materials here are craftable. As you can tell, they have the crafting requirements, and though the crafting requirement seems a bit like excessive, like for example 15 fiber and 30 stone for just like 1 crystal, it's not 1 crystal actually, it's actually 15 crystals, as it's stated here that it gives 15 resources per crafting. So you're converting 15 fiber and 30 stone into 15 crystals instead of 1. And this is extremely useful for those people who have no easy access to like metal and other precious resources, but you have extremely easy access to all the natural other resources, for example stone and wood, and you have too much of access. This is where you can use it to convert it all. Next up is the workshop. The workshop works as a crafting bench and a forge together, where you can put in metal, raw metal, and ignite it. Then you'll convert the raw metal into metal ingots. However, it does need to have wood and thatch for it to even work. So in order to craft things in it in the first place, you have to activate it with either spark powder, wood or thatch. Alright, next up is the cage wood human trap. What this trap does is actually helps you tame creatures. Let's say you are trying to tame a very scary, powerful carnivorous creature and you don't want to die, but you also don't have much resources to sleep it. Well, this cage trap actually, once you open it and put yourself inside, you're basically making yourself the bait. However, you are relatively safe And once the creature is knocked out, you can actually tame it, as I'm gonna demonstrate now. Let me just go find. Ah, that's a Rex. Alright, as you can see over here, there is a Rex over there, currently fighting a bunch of Pachi Rhinoceros. And I'm going to try and aggro it. Alright, Rexy, come here. Alright, Rexy, come on, Rexy. Turn around. Okay, there you go. Alright, now that the Rex is aggro on me, I'm just gonna run to the cage and hopefully I can open it and close it fast enough. Alright, and now I'm inside here. I'm not getting it. Give me a moment. Honestly, I just want to Rex myself. Jesus. Alright, as you can see, I'm trapped in the cage and I'm just using myself as bait. However, the Rex here has already put a tripwire, like activated a tripwire for the trap. And currently, I'm stuck in the cage, but I'm relatively safe. And the Rex is currently slowed and probably gonna sleep soon, but you know, this is gonna take a while. Finally. Yeah. So this cage is actually pretty good. It's actually very useful for taming any creatures that you don't really want to go head fight with, but you just use yourself as a bait to sleep the creatures. And as you can tell, this Rex here is just fast asleep, and I just need to put in any meat that I can see that I have, and you will be tamed already. So this is an extremely useful tool for anyone who are playing solo play or just want to tame a creature that is too big or too, you know, scary and have not much resources to play around with. Alright, up next is Slaughterhouse. The Slaughterhouse does quite an interesting thing. Once you start slaughtering, slowly you can not only craft chitin and keratin if you have some items that needs it. You can also they will actually convert the raw fish meat into oil and the raw meat into hide. So for the hide, it's not really, you know, useful unless you're in dire need of hide and you have a lot of meat, which makes no sense. But in terms of oil, it's actually pretty useful, where you can use the excess fish meat that you have and just convert it all into oil. So this is a good source of oil for anyone that has, like, you know, has no access to it at all. Alright, up next is the primitive tent. The primitive tent is a very good beginner structure. It's just a, you know, you don't have to build it at all. It's just a big structure in general, and it gives an increased insulation stat inside the tent. Despite it not being able to be closed, it's actually a very good starting structure if you want to make a base but you don't want to freeze to death. So yeah, this is the primitive tent. Alright, next up is the wood well. The wood well does what a well does, you know, just giving water to anyone nearby. But keep in mind that the water that is generated from the wood well is actually slow, like it's not very fast. So just keep that in mind and use it only when you're like thirsty, like dying of thirst or whatever. Alright, next up is the altar. The altar, despite it being like very big, menacing, and might be very useful, it's not. It's useful, but it's not what you think it will do. It will not give you any buff or whatever. What you just need to do is just you pray and you just repair all the items. I'm not too sure what the God blessing is, because as I pray to it, I have received a God blessing. I have not received any stats increment or any, you know, any buffs or whatever, but it does repair all the equipment that it has not in my inventory but inside the structure's inventory. So this is a very worthwhile structure to make, since you know, mining drills, chainsaws, all these are very expensive. All you have to do is chuck it inside there, pray, and it's totally repaired. So this is more of a cheat item, but very useful nonetheless. Alright, next is the windmill. The windmill is extremely useful for making a non-powered generator, as not only can the windmill be used to produce flour by using long grass, it also can be used to produce electricity. So this is a very good alternative to the generator. It has no downside other than the fact that it's quite large, but just for the cheap cost of wood, height, and fiber, you can actually create your own generator. So yeah, I highly recommend using this very often. The pyre is just, you know, a big campfire, but if you use it at night, it does light up quite a large area. As you can see, it's actually pretty fucking bright. And once you put it out, it's gonna be dark as shit. So yeah, this is the pyre, useful light source, because you know it's actually a lot bigger than whatever campfire that the game provides. Alright, next up is the cauldron. The cauldron is the lower tier variant of the industrial cooker, where it can be irrigated but it only has 200 irrigation, and you can create all the cookable items in the game along with the A+ food item, which is only one thing, which is the A+ bread. And from what I can tell, it's basically a food and a health potion in one. So this is extremely useful, but as you can tell, you have to create enough flour, which is using long grass, and also enough tinto berries and fiber. So naturally a farm needs to be in place. So yeah, this is the cauldron, and lastly would be the fish cage. The fish cage is extremely useful for using with the slaughterhouse, as it's not only cheap to make, but when you use it, you actually can get not only fish meat and prime fish meat, you also can get angler gel, but not of like, you know, not a lot lah. So this is actually useful and a very good combination with the slaughterhouse if you want to create more oil. And not only that, the fisher cage is actually extremely cheap to create. So just go ham at it if you want to create a lot of oil for yourself. Alright, we have come to the end of another mod showcase, and honestly I really like this mod. It's actually one of my top tier favorite mods alongside Sid's Hybrid and the Ark Edition, the collection, because it just gives like Ark a more survival feel, rather than just like jumping straight from, hey, I use a spear and a gun, to futuristic bullshit like the some plasma cannon or whatever. And this mod just basically adds that middle tier into it, where it's like, oh yeah, we are actually like making oil pumps, mine shafts, and making more civilized things in order to make the more future stuff, rather than just a huge jump from primitive straight away to futuristic. So yeah, I want to know what you guys feel about this mod, as I don't really see it often in other mod packs, and I just want to spread this mod around because this is extremely fun. I really want to share the joy with everyone. So yeah, comment down in the comments below and tell me like whether this mod actually you agree with me that this mod actually adds like that middle tier to Ark, or it's just a cheat to Ark. So yeah, this has been Castle Gaming, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye bye.